motivational speaker whose areas of interest are organizing extracurricular activities and motivating learners to be engaged in such practices. And then Dr. Abdulsalam Manthari is the head of English Language Center at Ibri University of Technology and Applied Sciences in Oman. And he got his PhD degree from University of Southampton from United Kingdom. Well, welcome, Dr. Maktoum and Dr. Amiri. So they are going to, these honorable speakers going to talk about the challenges of foundation students during online and offline classes. And interestingly, they will present some practical strategies to deduct the number of the challenges and increase the motivational level of the students simultaneously. Dr. Amiri, Dr. Al-Maktoum, the stage is yours. Please, it's a big pleasure to listen to your presentation.
Thank you very much. So we are very happy that we are joining the symposium in Shinas today, and we hope that we will share our ideas and at the same time hear from the participants. We prepared actually a very short presentation because we'd like people to interact with us using the chat box or opening the mic.
Sure.
Let me open PPT.
Start hosting this conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the topic today is about challenges, opportunities, and some effective strategies of teaching students in the general foundation programs, and looking at ways where we can support our students in the best way possible. And we divided our session today into 4 main areas. The first area is transition from school to higher education, and looking for ways where we can support our students to adapt to the higher education context. So not looking only at induction, but also looking at having a holistic picture. The second point that we'll talk about is academic issues, including teaching and learning methods. The third point is student support. So looking at students who are low achievers, high achievers, looking at how we can use extracurricular activities to support our students, and improving the interpersonal skills of students. And the last point is education psychology, including motivation, motivating students, and also looking at the internal and external motivation among students. Also looking at the rapport where we, as lecturers, try to do our best to motivate and support students. So these are the 4 main points. Let's look at the first point, which is transition. So this is actually an ongoing study. So the findings here are still preliminary, and in the future we'll find more solutions to support our students. So we had some interviews with students. So far we interviewed more than 40 students, and we asked them many questions, and we placed here 4 questions. So the first question: when they joined UTAS, what are the main challenges that they faced? Also, number 2, what are the main academic challenges that they face in the general foundation program? Number 3, what kind of student support and extracurricular activities do they expect, and what is their role? And number 4, the impact of teaching methods, the curriculum, the personality of the teacher, teaching style, and also the report on their performance. So we interviewed students, but also we used other sources of information, for example, our observations, the classroom observations that we had, also the kind of issues that we face when we deal with students. And as you teach in the foundation program, I think you will notice that new students face a lot of issues, but after a semester or 2, they adapt to the higher education context. So this depends on the nature of the nature of work that they do here in higher education compared to the way they learn in schools. So, school to higher education transition. Now, I want everyone to answer these questions using the chat box or opening the mic. So, what do you think are the main issues that students face when they move from schools to higher education? So please, can you let us know the issues that you think students face? I'll open the chat box. Again, the transition from school to higher education. What do you think are the main issues that students face? And why is this transition hard for some students? Communication and social issues, that's true. A lot of students in schools, they stay at home, and when they come to higher education, they stay in hostels. So they face a lot of social issues, and even simple things like transportation, nutrition, things that you can think of as common sense, they are not used to that. So they need to rely on themselves. Okay. There are a lot of interactions, so I'll try to read as many as possible. Communication, teaching the language in English. In schools, it's just one subject. In higher education or in our university, they study everything in English, including math and IT. So, Heidi, that's true. Going from memorization to critical thinking, that's true. So memorization doesn't work as effectively in higher education as it's effective in schools. And also here, Kathleen, thank you. Student-centered learning. This is a major issue. Language skills, co-education. Yes, we face some issues when we place students in the same classroom. A new atmosphere. Everything is new. Yes, Mahfouda, that's true. They are not ready to work independently. Yes, so you are reading my mind, actually, because they are expecting us to provide everything, and that doesn't work in higher education. They need to rely on themselves. Co-education for teachers. For a lot of students, yes, it's the first time they deal with foreign teachers. So in schools, mainly they're taught by Omani teachers. Complex tasks. I totally agree, because in schools, it's easy to pass from one level to the next. Here, some students are surprised when they are faced with our expectations, and exams are not easy for them. So we have high expectations from students. Anissa, change in timings. Anissa, I agree, because even in higher education, the attendance system is new to students, and we don't force our students to come to the class. It's totally optional. They have absence percentage, and sometimes they misuse this freedom. So they have some freedom compared to schools. And how are they going to use this freedom? The gap is wide. Lack of independent learning, Rahma, yes. Learner autonomy. Totally agree, especially for new students, motivation. Yes.
So many.
Oh, so many. I'm very happy with the way everyone is interacting. So if there is anyone who would like to open the mic, that's fine. Assessment is different. Yes, Heidi. Language barrier, mixed classes, academic standards is higher. Amal, yes. Okay, there is some independent learning here, more things to learn and practice. So there are a lot of points related to autonomy. So I'm scrolling quickly because we are keeping the time in mind. Mubina, the connection and gap between background knowledge taught and new material, making new friends. Stephanie, I totally agree, because what happens and what we notice, as because I know the head of English Language Center, so I face a lot of issues faced by students who lived all their lives with their parents. They are surrounded by the same friends, in many cases only by relatives. When they come to a new environment, they face some difficulties in making friends. Sometimes they make mistakes because they are not surrounded by positive and supportive people. So these things might be common sense to us, but for them, it's a new challenge. So yes, thank you. I'm very happy with the interactions. So these are some of the issues that students faced when they're with the transition from school to higher education. How can we make this transition more effective? What normally happens is that we have induction week, and the induction week normally it's purely academic. So we tell them about the system, how things work, but do we provide personal support? Do provide ways where we can students improve their personalities? So this is something new that we do here in Ibri. We give a lot of workshops related to personality development, things that are related to students' need in the foundation program. Simple things like how to make good friends, how to communicate with people, how to persuade people. These things are helpful for students. So these things make things smoother. Some students adapt more effectively than others. There are a lot of factors, and we are currently reading some studies related to this. So there are a lot of things, including the way they were raised, and also their ability to adapt to new changes. And there are a lot of factors that affect this transition. And one of the important factors is the support that we provide. I'm not talking about the management side, but also as lecturers, because we need to notice if there is something wrong inside the classroom. We need to notice, and we need to talk to students. So there should be some rapport and personal connection to identify these issues. It's not just going to class, teaching the students, and leaving without having this kind of rapport. We had to explain some terms because some of them were new to students. For example, the attitude, the rapport, the education and psychology, to make sure that when students are answered, they are aware of the issues that we are looking for. And we gave them freedom to explain the issues that they faced when they joined the university. Okay, so we finished the first point, which is transition. So we talked about that quickly. Now we are looking at the second point, which is academic challenges. And I have already talked about some of these points. For example, student-centered learning. So this goes both ways, from teacher side and student side. We notice that when in many classes, the classes are taught in a teacher-centered way. Teacher talking time is high, students are listening, they are passive, and they don't get enough opportunities to practice the language. So we need to be aware of that. And it's not an easy thing. Why? Because there are a lot of factors. One of the factors is that the way we were taught in the past is mostly teacher-centered. Student-centered learning is emphasized now. So going to a student-centered approach is not something new for lecturers and for students as well, because students, they were taught by many teachers in a teacher-centered way. So maybe they have expectation that I will be receiving everything I need. I need to be a passive listener and receive everything. So we need to change the mindset of everyone here that student-centered learning is important. Independent learning, you mentioned that, because they need to rely on themselves. They need to know that they are adults and they should take responsibility of their own learning. And there also another point, which is utilization of resources. We mentioned three main resources here. Number one, education and technologies. On one side, some people do not use technologies at all. And you know, our students, they enjoy using their gadgets, mobile phones, tablets, computers. So I think the use of technologies inside the classroom can be effective. But on the other side, If we use technology, does that mean that it's going to be effective? Not necessarily. The answer can be no sometimes. Why? Because we notice that sometimes students receive so many materials. Let's say in Microsoft Teams, the material is not arranged, it's not prioritized, it's not matching with the students' needs. Some of it comes from contexts that are different from students. So we need to be mindful here. If we are going to share materials, we need to ask ourselves, is it important? Do students have time? How much time is going to take? And is it suitable for everyone? Because you might have students who are excellent, who need different materials, and students who face some challenges. So they need something that is suitable to their level. Another point is creating interest and engaging tasks. You can ask students this question. A lot of students feel bored inside the classroom. This is not a secret. And even if you are the best teacher in the world and students are not paying attention to what you are saying, nobody is going to learn anything. So you need to create interest, find ways to create interest, including having quizzes, games, letting them participate, peer work, group work. So you should have a lively classroom environment. That's important because even if you have the best teaching style and students are not paying attention to what you are saying, then that's not going to work. Different needs of learners, we mentioned that, different levels and different learning styles. So having differentiated ways of instruction can be effective. So these are some academic issues that we realized based on first interviews, classroom observations, and then discussions with lecturers and students. There are some additional points here based on the connector. We can go through this quickly.
No.
Okay, so sure, Abdulsalam,
Shinas. In Shinas. They are now in Shinas?
would you please
What is the model?
Interpersonal skills.
we got some.
I try to mute them, so you can go ahead. Sorry for the interruption. Sorry.
No worries, you can mute them all because the audience can ask their question at the end of the session. You can.
Yeah, I did it. Thank you so much.
All right, welcome. Okay, so now here we reach to the what students think about the challenges. So we interviewed so many students, as Dr. Abdulsalam said, that one of the challenges that the students keep telling us is they believe that matching the materials, what we are giving to them, the materials that we give them are not absolutely matching to the style, the capacity of learning of students. So this is a very, a common challenge. So sometimes we believe that whatever we're giving, the material that we are giving are absolutely okay, but no. So many of them, they hardly maybe share their ideas. They do not tell the problems, but after all, after interviewing the students, in a private way, or after asking so many students who are acting as a new tutor, they told us actually that so many materials are not active. We as teachers should keep in our mind that the material or the syllabus that we are giving to students must be relevant, must be easy to understand. So the second one, the other part is information and materials overload. Okay, the another challenge is sometimes some of teachers we bombard them with a lot of information. Actually, we think that if the more I give materials or example or make them engage in ELT here and there, students will be able to learn more. But this is actually again a very common. It's a kind of fallacy. It is a common mistake actually that some of us are doing. So it is not necessary to bombard students with a lot of information, with the task and all these things. Sometimes maybe a simple the task can be 100 times more effective than many other materials that we as teachers give it to them. So we need to be absolutely professional how to customize our materials and teaching methods. Talking about customizing, this is, I think, this is the main role of teachers. You know, we got, you know, books, as you know, that many of foundation students are available here. Pathways books are, you know, the books that we are teaching. We all know that there are many vocabularies which are extremely challenging and sophisticated, complicated, and maybe they are not in the level of student. And there are so many tasks that which are, above the capacity of our students. So here, our role will come up. The main role will come up, and that is how to customize, how to make the book easy, and what to be fed to our students. So again, a differentiated instruction to cater different levels and learning style. Again, of course, we need to know how, what styles, what kind of teaching method must be implemented. Sometimes maybe some of our teaching methods are not effective, not influential. And after all, of course, I will talk about, you know, the impact of psychology, that how much your attitude, teacher's attitude, can affect on students' performance, which is one of the main and the most critical issue that many of us are facing, and that is related to the attitude, the way that we deliver, you know, our what is it, lesson plan. And that is not, you know, the matter of just, you know, using, for example, technology or giving amazing materials. No, if you as a teacher is not, if you fail to have an influential, magnetic personality or attitude in terms of delivering the lesson, your student's not going to learn it. So here we're going to talk about it in the next level. Let's go. So here we reached the student support. So, okay, all these challenges are available. So what we are doing in our university to minimize these challenges. The first one is induction, as we all know about that in induction session, Dr. Abdulsalam mentioned that we have so many programs. We try to prepare the mentality, the mindset of students at the very beginning, because the first impression is the last impression. And personal development, you know, workshop are one of the main, and successful actually programs that we have done it constantly here. And it has been very successful because we believe that we need to make them ready. We need to make our students ready mentally in order to, you know, make them mature and responsible, you know, citizen. Later on, they will come to know that what education is, and we try to make them actually lifelong learning through those workshops. Remedial class is another solution. Of course, that many, all colleges have this remedial class, but there is a challenge here again. As a head of students' activities, I face with this actually, what is the challenge, and I interviewed students as well. Many students, you know, do not feel comfortable to attend remedial classes, and the number of students are not that good. So, and that is because, you know, many students feel that, you know, if I enroll for remedial classes, everybody, you know, will mock me and make fun at me, and they think that I am a very super weak student. So they avoid, you know, attending remedial classes. So we found another solution, and the solution is writing center. So we have an office. We have a office in our university, which is called English Society. In that office, we have training sessions like one-to-one and small group tutoring. So here is, you know, a very great, amazing, actually, solution for that, for low achiever especially. So that office can, you know, can be extremely beneficial for our students, because students feel so comfortable when they come to that office. And in that office, we have peer tutoring, program that students, top students, will teach the other students. Even we as teachers also teach them a one-to-one. So this is one solution. Speaking cafe, of course, is another one. And blending groups. I don't know whether you are doing in your classes or no, but we actually somehow found it, you know, as a new strategy in our college, in our university. How? By blending one group to another group. You have no idea how much this, you know, a method helped our students to have a competitive, you know, environment. When we, for example, even for 30 minutes, when we take our students, for example, one group to another group with another teacher. So by blending groups, sometimes students will be able to learn better even. So personal development, interpersonal skills, I explained it, that these workshops were so amazing and supportive, and extracurricular activities, of course, that is the main thing that we always do. Counseling and advising also are two important elements that we implemented in our college, since we have different types of students in terms of personality and other things. So we have all these things to tackle all these challenges. Okay, we talked about educational psychology. As I mentioned that, let me just start with the HOD. He believes that the majority of institutions mostly focus on teaching methods. So what do you think, that only teaching method counts? Do you think that only if someone has amazing teaching method, that means that he can be considered as the best teacher? But the answer is no. According to even students' feedback, they think that sometimes, of course, the teaching method is perfect, but when the attitude, as I told you, if a teacher failed to understand the psychology of the students, if a teacher failed to have a good connection with students, again, your class will not gonna be influential. Your explanations will not gonna be influential. Your whatever you are teaching, students not gonna follow it. They not gonna enjoy your class. So here, the psychology is very important. A teacher should act like a psychologist. So here, the attitude of teacher is extremely important. You as a teacher must have a very magnetic and amazing personality in order to make the language very pleasant and interactive.
Okay. So I'm curious to hear from you. What do you think we mean by educational psychology? Can you write in the chat box? What do we mean by educational psychology, and why is it important? Okay, again, what do we mean by educational psychology, and why is it important? You can open the mic, or you can write in the chat box. That's totally up to you. Student motivation, yes. Kathleen. So it's related to motivating students. Abdul Karim. Yes, Abdul Karim. Abdul Karim is a student.
Head of peer tutoring.
He's a student, and he's the head of peer tutoring here. So we'd like to hear from a student, actually. Yes, Abdul Karim, can you talk?
Hello, Dr. Abdulsalam, sir. Hello, Mr. Mohsen, sir. Hello, everyone here. Good afternoon. Good morning to you all. Here, just to share my idea about what is student psychology and how is it supposed to be. In my opinion, I think it should be matching the way students think. You see, as a teacher, you're a person who had experience in life. You're an adult. You know what's best for the younger generation, right? However, the way how students think is, especially in their late teens to early 20s, is that I am an adult, that I should be independent, that I know what's best for me. Even if the student is wrong about that, they have that mindset, which I think a lot of even the older generation might have been through it in a phase where at your early 20s to late teens, you think that you know what's best for you. You see, in that case, matching his mindset, matching your student's mindset through that idea, make him feel that he's taking his own decision, make him feel that, you're there to help them if they were doing anything wrong about that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You have like 7 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Abdul Karim. So we heard from a student about the importance of educational psychology, and Abdul Karim mentioned an important point. Sometimes at this age, when you're 18, you're not ready to hear from other adults. You think that I know enough, or I can rely on myself. One of the effective ways is letting students learn from each other. because they are the same level, they are the same age, they understand each other better. And what we are doing here, we're using English Society to improve not just the academic skills of students, but social and life skills of students. So that's important, and this is related to educational psychology. We have a lot of responses here about what is educational psychology and why it's important. So I will read just a few because we have a few minutes. Caring for different personalities, different age groups, yes, and even the gender of students. Okay, ability to anticipate student needs. Okay, learning how to retain their knowledge. Understanding students' background. They come from different backgrounds. And once you understand their backgrounds, then you understand them better. Understanding what motivates them, yes. And understanding their individual differences. And peer tutoring helps a lot, but it should be closely monitored. That's true. Yeah, so we're monitoring them, and this is educational psychology guides us about student behavior, their learning style. So thank you very much. There are a lot of responses that we couldn't read because we're supposed to finish now. Before we end, let's just rewind and see the points that we discussed. We discussed 4 points here: the transition from school to higher education, and this is an ongoing study. We're still studying this issue, and actually we're thinking of writing a research paper related to that. We're still reading a lot, interviewing a lot, and gathering information. Academic issues, the student support, educational psychology. Guess which one is the most overlooked factor? Academic skills, there is a lot of emphasis, so mainly we pay attention to this one, followed by student support, because these things are easy, these things are visible, and they are easy to observe. The transition, I feel that not enough is done here to help students overcome this transition, and also educational psychology, I think there is need for more support related to this. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please contact us. And if you have any comments, suggestions, you can contact us by email. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohsen and Dr. Al-Maktoum. It was really nice, comprehensive, and fruitful presentation. We really appreciate it. We got a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, this is end of the session. If you have any question, if you have access to the microphone, you can open your microphone and ask your question. Otherwise, you can just type your question in the chat box, and Dr. Amiri and Dr. Al-Maktoum have access, I think, to the chat box, so they will reply you. Thank you so much.
Okay, we wrote our. So if you have any idea, please contact us. We'll be interested to hear from you.
I have a question. Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Heidi at HCT. I'm interested. Hi. I'm interested in the workshops that you have with the students. Is it held during the orientation week? And who conducts the workshops? Yeah, that's all for now.
Yes. Would you like to answer?
Well, thank you very much for your question. As I mentioned in the induction, what is the session? It is so critical to shape the mentality of students at the very, very beginning. Of course, apart from, what is it, informing, sharing the college rules and regulations, we try to make them aware of so many other, life skills. And I myself, as a founder of personality development in our university, used to have, and we still have this kind of, a workshop for foundations, especially for foundations. Even we have it for post-foundation students, and we found it that so many students, became so much aware of so many things because, they came from, different background. And when we make them aware of life skills, when we make them aware of so many other things, a big miracle could happen in their, minds actually. I think we're facing lack of time. The coordinator is shaking his head a lot.
Yes. Thank you. Anyway,
we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anyone is interested in asking questions, please go ahead. Yes, Mr. Abdul Karim, if you have any question, you can open your microphone and then ask.
Thank you, sir. So I have this question that it regards students' mentalities. You see, for students who came from high school and middle school environments where they haven't got that support, that mental support that they get, when they move to the life of college, that's where they realize that there is such support. Have you ever encountered students who haven't comprehended the idea and they haven't opened up yet? And is there any ways you can help these students who haven't, opened up about them not getting support back in high school? How do you help them get the support they need in college life?
Well, for sure. Actually, we having also some workshop in the schools as well. So as you also are fully aware that we have an English Society member. We got 6 active members in our English Society. So we trying to do this from their schools actually, by taking our students and conducting workshops like personality development and life skills workshop in the school. So we try to sometimes we invite school students to come and visit our university, and in those in those workshops we try to make them aware. We try to make them aware, and you have no idea how much such kind of sessions can be effective to change the mentality of students. Of course, we have done all that, and we're still doing it.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, the honorable presenters, Dr. Al Maktoum and Dr. Amiri. It was really a nice presentation, and we got a lot. Thank you so much. Sorry, I couldn't give you more time because we have other sessions to follow by 11:10. Thank you so much, and again, on behalf of English Language Center at Shinas, I really appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.